What's up, Big Bear Nation? Welcome back to the homestead. Hey ladies. Y'all wanna take that grass and turn it into some tasty milk? Uh-oh, water. Oh, you act like you haven't had access to water all night.
I really don't know what they I guess you really do.
You must have grain or something. You know, Jason and I have been homesteading for about 15 years. And it wasn't until we learned about pasture rotation from Joel Salatin that we realized exactly what we wanted to do with our homestead and with our livestock. So we just thought it was as simple as putting some cows on some grass, raising a few chickens here and there, and that'll be fine. 14. But what we have found after doing this for as long as we have is that raising all of these animals is kind of like having an orchestra. And the goal of the orchestra is to create this beautiful symphony. And so what we have finally figured out after all of these years of trying to move cows, trying to follow them with chickens, is that you have to pay attention to each instrument, figure out how to tune it up, get it to where it's right where it's supposed to be as far as pitch and everything else. It's the same thing with our cows and with our chickens. The very first thing we did was set up our pasture into these small paddocks. And what we used as a guide was our fencing that we had for the chickens, the poultry netting. So we set up a perimeter with the poultry netting, and then we took our poles and our electric fencing and went around that so that it would make sense that the cows would then clear that area. Then 3 days later, we would put the chickens on that same land. And what they would do is they come through and they clean out all of the cow patties, get all the fly larvae spread around. And then that way, not only do we not have big clumps of grass later on, but we're equally fertilizing the grass that they've eaten. And also, you're getting your fly population under control, because as those flies are laying those eggs, when they turn into larvae, the chickens come in and eat them instead of letting them turn into flies. So our usual routine is first thing in the morning, we will milk the cows. And let me back up a little bit. The night before, we will, when we're bringing them in to be milked, whoever's not milking, the others will come up here and set up. They break down the existing paddock and then they set up a new paddock. So we're always, you know, one day ahead of when we have to turn the cows out. Then they'll go and lock up the chickens, move the egg mobile to the new paddock for the next day, set up the chicken fencing, and then we're all ready for the next morning. So then what happens is that next morning when we milk, after we're done milking, we bring the cows up here and then we let the chickens out in that previous paddock, or I guess it's 3 days behind. So we turn them loose, and then that way we have two paddocks that are being taken care of at any particular time. So now what we're doing is, as the chickens pass through their pasture, Jason will come through with the lawnmower and mow everything level so that everything has a level playing field moving forward. So we're hoping that this will help to encourage the grass to grow and kind of choke out any of the weeds that have kind of taken over in certain areas. Hey, Pumpkin. Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay with that chicken man in your paddock? So one of the other things we're doing as far as sustainability is we've actually had a couple of our hens go broody this year. Some of the free range hens. And so we've had a couple of clutches of baby chickens. So we're also running birds in tractors going through the pasture as well. And eventually these will be meat birds, but right now we have a few layers in here. And as we move them down the pasture, these areas over here, they are preparing the soil for what is going to be more soft fruit. Because as you can see right behind me here, this is where all of our grapevines are. So these guys daily will scratch up a bunch of stuff, and they're catching all the worms and bugs and stuff, and they're turning those into eggs as well. So one of our first big livestock that we had was pigs, and that was definitely a good step in the right direction towards sustainability. But now that we have the cows, we're really moving way ahead, because not only do we have meat, but we also have dairy. And the byproduct of all of that milk that we're getting, we're taking that milk and putting it into the pig's feed and saturating the pig's feed so that it soaks up all of the dust and all of the pellets and stuff. And it makes them get full quicker, and it makes us spread out the feed that we do have to get for them. So this is definitely a big move towards sustainability. We're taking grass, we're turning it into milk, butter, cream, cheese, ice cream, and even bacon if you think about it. And we're taking cow patties and we're turning those into eggs and even chicken meat. Thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless and have a nice day.